get started. I wish I could tell it how keep our music going. All right. How's everybody doing this week? As always, feel free to ask questions as we go here. Let's see. Let me know if the music is too loud, but I think it's okay. I figured out the trick there. Last time what it was is my headphone volumes were too low. So to me it sounded very low, but for everybody else it was loud. I think I figured that out. You know, the things you learn as you're trying to figure out how to stream things. Let's clean up my desktop a little bit. All right, so we were last time. We're still working on Vulkan issues for MonoGame. I'm gonna go and assume Sam. Yo, how you doing, man? Thanks for watching. Let's see. Let's get the chat open too. Adham, hello. Should be more prepared, but I'm not. I'm always running tight on time. I'm driving to the office and stuff, and things become very tight. All right, so I'm gonna go to issues. Let's share my screen and move forward here, huh? Capture rear. Share my screen. Right, share my screen. So let's zoom this sucker in a little bit. Music might be a little loud. I'm going to bring it down a little bit, make sure people don't annoy. That's better. All right, so I think an issue was assigned to me this morning by Simon. Okay, that's interesting. Game is mouse is visible is not respected, which can result in odd camera behavior. Okay, well. That's interesting. So they're saying, let me zoom in a little further. It looks like they're getting different results on different versions of Linux, or with different rendering backends on Linux. I'm not an expert on Linux at all, but I've heard of Wayland and X11, and I've dealt with that craziness. I mean, that's probably not a bad fix in general. I mean, the fact that we're not doing that based on the current state at startup is potentially bad. I mean, this seems like a reasonable fix. I'm not sure why he changed it from that to this. I guess it's. Oh, I need to mute my phone. Don't need any of that right now. I guess consistency is within the same class, so it doesn't really matter. And I guess looking at game doesn't really make sense. So yeah, I mean, I think these are generally okay fixes. Let me just comment back. The fixes in are okay. Hopefully that will move things forward. So I think that's a reasonable result for that. We should fix the problem, you know, because if startup is not doing the right thing, it's kind of bad. Let's see, we have a comment, question or something. All good here. As it happens, I'm actually making MG lamps right now, so timing the stream and background work relies. Oh, so Sammy, he's doing those MonoGame lamps. That's interesting. I forgot where I saw that. One of the guys on Discord showed it to me. They're really cool. If I had, you know, more space for background stuff, I would. Yeah, once I get my home office completed, which is a whole other project in itself, you know, maybe I'll have a better streaming space, but right now I really don't. Right now it's here in my office, and my office is a wreck, so don't need to show you that. All right, so that's addressed. So let's get to back to actual issues. Let's see. Here, give me a second here. I'm gonna stop streaming for a second. Or stop, you know, streaming my desktop while I get a couple things set up. Only because I have some private projects that I don't need to be showing. You know, I can't always control that, but it's, you know, sometimes it's stuff that is for clients, and, you know, it's not always stuff I can talk about. So I don't want to show it even accidentally if I can avoid it. All right, let's get this thing back open. All right, back at it. Let's get our text up. So we were working on unit tests last time, specifically Vulkan tests. And we were looking at MSAA, but there's a couple other things that we want to look at. I wanted to take a look at occlusion, because I think doing a little digging, I kind of understand maybe what's going wrong there. So yeah, so the occlusion queries, let's go look at that real quick, because I want to kind of make some progress on things today. Am I not getting? Okay. So yeah, I think that so the ending of our occlusion query, I think, is sort of a problem. And I think the other thing was, what was the other thing? I took some notes here. Yeah, so there's the create, there's the destroy. Again, like one thing, where was it? Okay, so this is one of the issues. This is never reset. So that's one problem. Now, possibly not the only problem here, but it's worth, let me rerun all these tests real quick. Okay, did it actually rerun? I guess those tests are really quick. So that was one thing that came up, was that. What do we call a begin query? Okay, we're calling it down there. Music cut out for a second. Well, that was weird. Stream did something strange. And it does the actual queries. Begin render pass, begin queries. Okay. I think the other issue might just be when we're actually beginning. I'm not sure where this design of a deferred occlusion query came from. I don't think that's from my code. I think that's something that came from the work for Linux, which, you know, I'm a little worried that some of that stuff is not fully tested. It was kind of done blind. Because that's not really how we do it in DX12, and I think DX12's queries work. Let's go look at that real quick. You know, DX12 and Vulkan are different. DX12 one is written a lot different than the others. Yeah, I mean, I think you really have to be in the middle of a frame to call this. I guess the reason it's doing deferred here is because it might not have begun I guess what it's doing is it's marking render target dirty, which then it's using that as a way to trigger update render pass, so that on the next draw it says, oh, I need to update the render pass, and then that's what triggers the deferred yeah, because they're down here somewhere, the deferred occlusion queries. Can't really out here, right? No. And I think, I mean, that's kind of weird, but I guess that makes sense. Where's our results? It's here. Get results. Great results. Oh, you know what? I know exactly what I didn't do here. Duh. I need to go fix that once and for all. If I don't build both sides, it's not using the correct code. I think it was not executing this has begun, but I don't think that's the problem in this case, but yeah. So there it goes. Oh, interesting. Oh, well, that's because it's testing that, right? It's complete true. Pixel count is 0, which is what the problem is still. But at least I fixed that one case. It's more correct. Let's see. We're going to go look at our pool results. I think that we need to wait. How does that work? Oh, great. I think there's a call to wait. Okay, we want it to wait, I think. Well, yeah, I actually don't think maybe we don't want to wait. Let's have it not wait for right now, or have it wait for right now, and let's see how that works. I want to see if it actually causes it to work, because if it does, then that tells us something. I don't know, maybe that's going to be bad. I know, we'll find out. Yeah, it didn't produce a result. Oh, that's not a good sign. The fact it can't put a breakpoint there means it didn't execute this code. All right, debug. It's begun. Result success. Result still 0 pixels. Let's see, when is this getting called? What is it doing to actually? It's drawing some sprites, calling end on the inclusion, begin an inclusion query, end on the inclusion query. So this is the predicate it's executing. Okay, so now I understand what's happening. It's executing that predicate. This test is written kind of odd. Query with red rectangle 50% included. Just checking to see if it's complete. Are there any rules on that? Let's see if there's any rules on this guy. Where's my window? There we go. We are getting a 64-bit value. We might as well try that. I'm just trying to see if there's anything we can that at least gets us something. I wonder if it ever returns that it's still busy. Basically counts frames and then says it's waiting a couple frames, basically. Okay, I see. So it's running a couple frames, waiting for the occlusion query to complete. So I kind of understand the test better now. Let's see if I can. I mean, this is ending the scene and continuing. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. It's kind of weird. I wonder if that's producing some of the... It's always returning success. I don't know if I like that it's ending the scene and continuing. I don't know about this idea. I mean, the whole point of it is that we're not blocking on it. It has to finish deferred. So I'm not sure why it would end the render pass here. I mean, that doesn't make sense to what's that last command in query here? Okay, the index of the query within the pool. I mean, that's an optimization that could maybe happen later if we had a pool that was multiple queries. You know, since we're making one pool per query, which is probably not very efficient. Yeah, okay, so let's go back to this. Let's make sure the code changed, build it again. Oh, wrong thing. Did the wrong thing. Oh, go away. All right, debug. Not ready. Okay, I'm finally getting a not ready. Not ready. Not ready. Not ready. May not be ready ever at this point. Is that because, I guess because the frame never ended? Is that how that's true? Because it's not. Not sure if it actually, let's see, hang on a second, let's see. Alokjan in from Bihar. How many years for this kind of coding? I mean, I don't know. I can just tell you that I've been doing it since I was 12 years old. And I'm 52, so 40 years of coding. not consistently, early on did some coding on the old Commodore 64 and a TRS-80 and fun stuff like that. The old TRS-80s. Actually, mine didn't look like that. Mine was, nope. The one that I had, it's actually my father's TRS-80. He loved technology and he would always get the newest stuff. So it was one of these guys. Come on, open the image. Hello, watching you from Sri Lanka. Hey, Sri Lanka. How's Sri Lanka today? There we go. Yeah, I want a good image of this. Oh yeah, that's the vibe. That's what it was like back in the day. I think it was actually a TRS-80 Model 2. No, it wasn't a 2. It was a TRS-80 Model 1. No, I guess it was a Model 4. Didn't know that. Anyways, this is what I started to. This is my first experiences in coding was with one of these guys. Fun, huh? And I would get game magazines or coding magazines, and they would have little games in them, and I would use those coding magazines to learn how to write stuff, and would write little dumb games. I think somewhere I have a floppy disk, around that has maybe something I wrote back in the day. But my guess is that if I even got that to read, it probably would not work. It's been sitting for so long. Interesting to do one day, but yep, did that. Then did the old Commodore 64 for a while. And that was another whole experience. Commodore 64 was fun. That's when you would get and the first time I was online, Commodore 64 with the old modem-based BBSs. So yeah, that's where I started a long, long, long time ago. But I really didn't start coding professionally, I guess, in the last 25 years is when I started coding professionally. Yeah. So I've been coding on and off for 40 years, but the first 20 were more dabbling and playing around and not really working on things. So maybe that answers your question. All right, so back to this. So now it doesn't, I'm just going to run it straight out. I always worry about these things in timing. So now it's not getting a result at all. So the question is what am I missing there? I guess I was going to check to see if the present was actually happening. I was going to check the DX12 code for So yeah, I mean, it's definitely not yeah, like I don't think it's valid to just have a query and assume that it's going to. Yeah, I guess that's a question I don't know. Atoms Baza 2. Hi. Hello. I don't know if that's valid to not have the present execute. obviously it's working in, obviously these tests are working in GL and DX12 because it executes the same tests. Let's go take a peek at those real quick. Just look at the implementation and see if there's anything that we're missing as far as how it should be working. Let's see. Question. Hi, Tom. Zubazon says, hi, Tom. I've ran into a hard limit of 16 texture samplers I can use in my terrain shader and desktop GL. Is there any chance of that limit being increased in desktop PK? Yeah, I mean, we don't run into that too much. And, the numbers that we pick there are kind of arbitrary and historical. Like, I'm sure that if I go look at the bulk implementation, let's see. If I go to max texture slots, it's probably 16 as well. Yeah, but there's no reason that it has to be that. It's just we picked a number. There is a question of consistency. And like if we increase one, then it doesn't work on the other platforms. That's kind of a problem. But in theory, it could be raised. I'm not sure why. I mean, for modern platforms, I don't know if. Let's see what Google says. Let's see what max texture sampler count for modern. Let's see what Google says. Traditional. That doesn't sound like the right answer. Yeah, Unity seems. It's a GL answer. So, I mean, 16 seems to be like a common limitation. And, it is a good question whether, we would get more out of it. I think we could probably raise it, but, I think that what we'd want to say is like, a certain amount is only guaranteed. But there are limits for sure. Square Bananas brings up the point that, that depending on platforms, you get more textures with texture array as well. It's not available in MG desktop GL. Yeah, so there are other ways to do it. And it could be that, 16 might be, 16 is probably something that we can guarantee on every single platform, from mobile to Switch to Xbox, all platforms, 16 is stable. Going to a higher number, it may or may not work. We could make it adjustable, like support more than, like ensure 16, but support more than 16 on platforms that do that, and actually do a query to find out like how much does this hardware support. But you're playing with fire there, right? Like you call it on someone's machine that does not support more than 16, and then the game will work. So I don't know if I don't know if you'll get better performance out of moving to supporting 32 sampler slots, texture slots, or if you go to something like texture arrays. So yeah, I'm not sure. It's something is something that we could probably investigate. And Square Bananas is saying like, yeah, I believe the 16 textures is the shader model 3 limit. That could be true, that it is a shader model limit, and that on higher shader models you have a more samplers. So if I go to, let's see, shader model 4, I'm just going to go to Microsoft's definition for it because it's probably as good as we're going to get. Specifically for shader model 4, yeah. Does it have no limits here? I don't think that will be what I'm looking for. Nope. I guess I can look at registers, huh? Just look at raw 4, but 128. Or sorry, sampler 16, textures 128. And that's something that MonoGame doesn't do very well. We kind of tie the samplers to the textures very tightly, and technically they don't need to be that way. You could technically set your, use a different sampler, use the same sampler with multiple textures. That's how it's supposed to work. But with the old shader pipeline that we have, it happens to tie them very tightly, where it assumes that if you're using sampler 2, that you're also using texture 2, and there's no real good reason for that other than historically that's how we've had it. That needs to be cleared up. We have a larger feature that we're working on that will rework the shader pipeline, and in that process we'll break that connection, because that's definitely a problem. I assume this is the same thing here. Yeah, sampler 16. So it looks like the samplers are the thing that's actually limited here. Let's see if it changes in here. Still sampler 16, shader model 5. Let's go to shader model 6. Okay, they gave up on that. I guess it probably has it's probably the same as shader model 5 or 5.1. It's same as shader model 5. So yeah, 16 samplers is your limit. They've decided that you don't need more than 16 samplers, which makes sense. The sampler is just telling you how you're filtering the texture. It is not the texture itself. When you go to the actual texture limits, what is that? Up to 128 textures. What if you go to the vertex shader? 128, 16 samplers, yeah. And those samplers are independent between 2 stages, if I remember correctly. So yeah, could you increase it? Possibly, but not without fixing how the samplers work. So I would definitely aim for Vulkan and VX12 and aim for texture arrays at the moment. That might be your best bet. Or be smarter about how you're using your texture registers, All right, back to this. So yeah, the question is we're going to go look at the other implementations of this. Let's see, graphics. Let's look at the good old DX implementation. Begin, context begin, end, get result. So there's nothing here that there's nothing here that forces it to end. And the context, if I remember correctly, does not flush till the end, if I remember correctly. Let me go look at that real quick. haven't looked at this code in a long time. Come on, thing. God. What are you calling before present? Just looking at order here to understand better. Just calling platform present. Yeah, I think I remember how that works. The DirectX is always submitting, or DX11, it's always submitting stuff. It's just active. So what we need it to do is we need it to actually at least flush the start the the actual command buffer, not command buffer, but let's see, where is it? I don't want to go there. Let's wait for a second. Let's go back to our queries. So this is trying to end it, saying like, okay, force an end so that it can actually get the result. I don't think that's the right thing to do. Let's see. Let's give you a couple of answers here. I wonder if we should be using a secondary command buffer here. No, I mean, that's not required. So I see, I guess, what they were trying to do here. They were trying to end the command buffer to force it to actually process square root. Then start it again and start a new command buffer. Yeah, I think I need some more examples here. Let's go to the old documentation. Don't need that anymore. I have a feeling, and I'm going to try this in the test just to see, that if I do graphic device here, I do that, it will work. To game loop. I have a feeling if I do that, then it's going to run and work. Let me first build. Gosh, I need to fix that problem. Maybe I should stop and fix it, but I really just want to get this solved. Come on, thing. Why are you still building? There we go. Still didn't like it. Debug. Still didn't get a result. It makes me start to wonder whether the problem is not that. Really does make me wonder. I feel like I need to set up like an actual visual test that I can verify that things are rendering, that things are working. How's this? Shits and giggles. Let's try that real quick. Okay. Ah, look at that. Look at that. That's interesting. So instead of being 5,000, it's 1,000. So it actually did run. I think the percent's what makes it work, but let me run it again. Like it got a result this time. Yeah, didn't complete. So without the percent, it doesn't complete. You know, we'll deal with that in a moment. Let's first get the queries to work, then we'll worry about the rest. So why did that fail? It tells me that is the depth information backwards here? Depth stencil state default. So before is rendering a white rectangle at depth 0, which I believe is at the front of the camera. And then it's rendering a second one that's slightly offset. So it's kind of like two offset rectangles. And then on that one, it's rendering at depth state of 1, so behind it. And that's the one behind it is the one that it's testing. So if I run it again, it got twice the amount of pixels it expected, which is, not included at all. I think it's the same as if I did this. Yeah, should be the same as if I did that. Yep, same result. Which I guess mathematically that's right. Is that correct? Yeah, I mean, mathematically it's correct, right? Like it is 100 by 100 pixels, so that's 10,000 pixels. So it was 10,000 pixels, expected 55,000. Okay, so this entire time we're trying to figure out why we're we getting results. It's the draw. It has nothing to do with the actual query. Or it might still have some issues to do with the query, but the draw is having a problem. So why would the depth be wrong here? Let's try some other things. I just want to see where we're kind of working blind, which sucks. I hate these tests where I can't see what's happening. Okay, it was 0 at that value. It's visible there. I think we can go along with our depth and sprite batch. Where I get it 1. Get both on 1. I get nothing. I run it like that. I also get nothing. If it's nothing. If it's 0, it works. That tells me there's a transform issue of some sort. Where's another? Let's go look at one of the sprite tests and see if we can use it to experiment here. Sprite batch tests. Let's look at this draw normal test. See what it looks like. Or experiment a little bit with the depth on that one. I still want to have to set up like a project to test this. I'm trying to use the framework as much as I can to test these things. All right, so assets, reference images, sprite batch, draw normal. Where's draw normal? Okay, so that's draw normal. I am just going to drop our other code in here, huh? Let's just do that. And this also tells us that oh, what was that? Lost it. Ah, come on. There we go. Okay, I'm going to just look at the results of that test real quick. Where would it be? It's in here. Tests, desktop PK, debug, assets. No, captured frames, sprite batch, normal. Should be obvious. Oh, there. Okay, so it's white. That looks like the right placement. That's what it drew. So I want to test a couple things. If I draw it at 0 depth, what happens? Can't tell if it updated. Okay, it did. Okay, so it updated. That's what it's drawing there. So that's correct. So it is drawing at a different depth there. Wish I knew what the depth was. That'd be nice. But that's a whole other issue. I might have to pull this into a separate test so I can actually use debugging tools to figure out what's happening there. Okay, so let's complete the test here. Let's put the other one in here. I think it was originally that this was 0 and the other one was 1, if I remember correctly. I'm not going to pull that in, but I'm going to do this. Come on, thing. So that's the idea. Oh, those are both at 0. Interesting. Well, no, that's correct. This is drawing one on top. I think that's how it was originally in the test, right? Originally it was 0 and 1, yeah. Just trying to understand what I'm missing. It does look like it's working. Run it again. Okay, so the idea is that the second one is 50% occluded because this was on top of the other one, right? And it looks like it's doing the right thing. So maybe it isn't a render problem. That's drawing at the far distance, it's drawing at the near distance. If I swap them, they should swap. Just want to get validity that things are running right. Whoa, oh, I changed rotation. Let's say. Got confused. Put this in the same place so that we don't screw it up again. So in this case, right as on top. Hey Dean, hello from Twitch. hello from Twitch. Okay, so red's on. Okay, at the back, the front. So that makes sense. And if I swap it, we'll have the opposite behavior again. Okay, so that looks correct. Let's see what happens if I go to like 5 and 4. So that one, the red should still be behind. Okay, that looks normal, but I wonder what that means to our query. Because the query, that should be interesting. I wonder if that's a we took off that weight or that, yeah. Is the query being set up correctly? That can't be any clearer. So I was worried it wasn't producing the right. Wait, it said something about 50% of. That's not what the test meant, huh? Yeah, the test says 50% occluded. Okay, I thought it was a passive. It's not occluded. Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. There's nothing different occurring here. And the present ensures that the scene has been flushed. It's just waiting for the next frame, so that should be working. It's interesting. Let me run this test again. The fact that it says was 0 is weird. I mean, I wonder if it's... Why is it doing that? That's odd. If I flip them, it doesn't have the problem. But, the result there makes sense. It's fully visible when it's flipped. Like if I flip it here, 1 and 0, that's essentially this result. Red being the one that's tested, fully visible, that makes sense. But the opposite, when it's back here, it is not. Depth stencil state is the same. I assume that, dumb question, is there not a depth buffer on this? It's an interesting thing to check. Yeah, let's check that real quick. Wait, where do I find that? Okay, active depth from depth 24. It should have a depth buffer. Let me stop and see how it creates it, just to be sure that the low level is doing it. Does it use this? It might. I think it uses that. Yeah. Check our clear real quick. I feel like I have to check everything. Yeah, there's the clear come from blue, and clear depth, clear stencil. Clears it to the far value. Wait. Is that what it should be doing? Where did that come from? Let's look at our test again. It's doing the same clear. There's nothing special about it. Depth stencil 8 was what was being done here. Our inclusion query, right? No, interestingly enough, capture is happening into a render target and not into it's happening in a render target and not to the back buffer. I don't know if that has some relevance here. Wait. That's interesting. No, actually, I don't believe it does. If I remember correctly, we don't have any special Y flip stuff in there for Vulkan. I don't believe that's the issue here, but because it's not checking a particular place in the target; it's just checking the whole render. That is a difference here. I want to test this again down here. Oh, wait a second. Well, the frame doesn't matter right here. Well, no, it does. Wait. Did I just do something? Hang on a second. Let me double check something. No, this ends on frame 0. I guess what frame we're calling this in doesn't really matter. This will be a different frame now. Frame 1, but that doesn't matter. Okay, I just want to make sure that I didn't do something stupid there. Let's go back to this and verify what this is supposed to be returning. I'm starting to get into really the weeds of like, well, what could it possibly be? And great, that's not very helpful. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so it had the precise flag. I mean, I assume this is starting at the right time. Maybe I haven't really looked at that. I made the assumption. Could be totally wrong. Let's start it again. Stop. Okay, let me get to the right place here. So it's beginning here, saying draw. That triggers this update pass. What is coming here is resetting the pool. Let me look at those arguments real quick. First query count. Yep, marking is started. Begin render pass. I don't know if the timing of this is. Does it have to perform before or after the run to pass? Who knows? It's called this, but it is passing this flag, precise. Any other flags? No, it's the only flag. If it's force precise, bring precise. Okay, it's doing that. Nope. Don't get there. Verifying what that is. I'm pretty sure that's the query index, which is always 0 in this case. Go look at query pool results. That flag. I need to look at that flag. I understand what that means. Go away. This is... We don't need that. Sorry guys, I've been quiet. I'm just kind of reading through docs, trying to understand what's possibly going wrong here. Are setting that. Yeah, we're setting that. Including geometry is not drawn first. Including geometry is not drawn first. Okay, well that's obvious. Yeah, I mean, if I draw with depth I mean, just that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's a simple result. MonoDevelop is back for develop. MonoDevelop. I haven't heard of MonoDevelop in a long time. I mean, this thing. I mean, this is pretty antique, isn't it? Or is this new? Interesting. What does it say Visual Studio in the corner? Is MonoDevelop now Visual Studio for Mac or something? I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I never really used MonoDevelop back in the day. pretty sure this is ancient at this point. Yeah, I'm running out of time here and not getting a good result. This doesn't make sense why this would not work. Unless it's a subtlety, like it has to be before the render pass begins. I mean, but it tests properly in the other case. It's only when it's occluded does it get a partial, doesn't get a correct result. It just seems weird to me. Is it because of where the depth test is set? It means returning 0 like it didn't record any pixels. Where are we setting that query? Doing it here before this. Let's try a couple things actually. Let's stop it. Actually, I don't know if that'll work, but I don't think this will work. You might force it to change their sense of state. I'm gonna try it again. Just wonder if, like, if the depth stencil state is not. I mean, I assume it's results of pixels. It doesn't matter when we end a pass, but it seems worth testing just in case. Be out here. Doesn't matter because it doesn't have it. Okay, so there it's setting depth stencil state for this. Comes here. Oddly enough, it never sets the depth stencil state again until it gets here. And that's also kind of interesting that it's drawing on it's doing this on every pass instead of just waiting for this. Is this screwing up my results? I mean, this test works under, it should be screwing up my results. But let's at least figure this out. I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to worry about this case. So it only does this on the first draw, then these cycles are not doing anything. just because I want to be absolutely certain. Now I wonder if, well, we'll see. First I'll just run it, see what happens. Same results as before, and that's the right order, right? I think so. Damn it, I hate when I don't remember what the thing is. No, it should be 0 and 1. I have it backwards at the moment, but that's fine. It was 0, so it's getting 0. Such a weird result. Why? What if I move this guy? If I go to 0 here, does it now return? Still return 0. Shit. Still 0. I just want to get some result that makes some sort of sense. Render a second time here, but it's going to do that for shits and giggles. Let's see what it does anything different. No, didn't think so. Kind of grasping at straws now. I'm pretty sure that doesn't do shit. Yeah. I want to see that it's actually setting the depth stencil state from within there. I might change where my query begins, maybe. Sort of interesting. That should have triggered a different depth stencil state there. It didn't. Running out of time for today. That sucks. So there it says depth stencil state. Where else does it do this? Which one is this one? Keep the state around. Less than or equal. Depth test enable, depth right enable. Okay. And that is on here. So, which just makes sense. It gets here, and here it goes to set the depth stencil state. State is different. Should be. Depth enabled, right enabled, false. Pipeline state dirty, pipeline state depth sense will test this. So the pipeline state is dirty. It should be updating the pipeline state. Let's see. I need to go here soon. I'm getting a phone call that I need to take. Hang on, let me update them real quick. All right. Wait, where is it saying the depth sensor state? Oh, it already did it. Okay. So change depth sensor state. We're not multi-sampling, so none of that should matter. I really hope my tests on multi-sampling didn't break this. That would be freaking dumb, huh? Query begin, and here, setting the depth stencil state back, setting the pipeline dirty, which, get back to that. Make sure that this is getting called again. Now it's wait, what? Oh, it's outside. I was confused there for 1 second. I was like, oh no, what does that mean? Wait, what? I have a breakpoint here, and this didn't get hit. It's reusing the pipeline. Is that a problem? It got here and said, oh, I already have a pipeline like this. That isn't a problem, is it? No, that shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. If we're using the pipeline, that should be fine. Switching back to a pipeline it had before. Yeah, I have a feeling that I might have to test this somewhere where it's interactive. I can potentially that I can potentially like see that it's actually rendering the back buffer. Vertex buffers. Every time. Stumped. I mean, I think we made a little bit of progress, but I'm definitely stumped as to why this is still happening. It's like why would that be? Why would that be? Why would that be? This is the life of programming, trying to understand why something is happening. I'm just going to have to make, like, I might have reached the limit of what I can do with testing within unit tests, because you're kind of working blind. You can't test as well. I might just need to set up like a dummy project and sit there and let it render, verify my rendering looks right, and then I can also connect the debugging tools to try to understand what might be happening, because I might need to capture some frames and see what is really happening with it, because it doesn't make sense. Everything seems like it should be working, yet it is not. It's returning a pixel count that doesn't make sense to the query. I don't think there's any alignments or anything that we need for that. Guess let me try one more thing here, just for shits and giggles, even though it shouldn't make any difference. Just gonna move this up here. Just see if that gives us any sort of difference. I can guess now because I just don't know. Come on. Man, these days, it just feels like a lot of no success. Nope, figured it'd be the same thing. Yeah, just a lot of no success, which really bothers me. So, what did we learn? We learned programming can be frustrating. So yeah, I think that's what I have to do next time. I can't, like I was hoping that I could use the unit test to kind of figure this out, but when you're using the unit tests, a lot of the tests are written to work with the swap chain. There's no window, you can't see what's happening. There's not an easy way to debug it, on GPU level. So what I need to do, my homework for the next stream or over the weekend, this next week, is to set up a test project, which I'm sure I have one, but I just need to set up a test project with this, get the test kind of pulled over to the test project, at least the guts of it, And then I need to spend time figuring out, testing to verify everything's rendering properly. I need to debug it in a GPU debugger. I guess I forget the name of that one that is used with Vulkan, but we would need to use that and ensure that that works so I can test there. And that might be the thing that tells me why my query is returning bad results. But there must be something simple. It's either something that we're not getting right, because it could just be something that we're doing when we do the present, that it's not flushing depth results or something, even though what's weird is if I flip it, it works 100%, right? It's only when the thing is in front that it fails. And I do wonder if it's something as simple as the precision that my GPU can return. No, it's got to work properly. Because again, if I run the DX11 tests or the OpenGL tests, those succeed on my same machine, meaning the GPU is perfectly capable of returning accurate results. And Vulkan should be able to do the same. So yeah, disappointed. Not good results. Feels like I wasted 2 hours. I mean, I learned a lot of what it wasn't. But not a lot of what it is, which is frustrating. So yeah, sometimes that's how programming in life is. You know, you get frustrated because you can't get a solution to something. And I'm sure I'm like one aha moment away from it actually working. And it's probably something super simple and straightforward that's causing it, but I'm just not seeing it. So yeah, all right, guys. Well, I think that's it for this week. I will relax, lick my wounds, think about it. Sometimes stepping away from the problem will help. And hopefully I'll come up with whatever the real solution is here, because it seems like it should just be working and it's not. All right. As always, make sure you follow us on Twitch and YouTube. That's where we're always streaming. I think it also streams to Facebook, but who's looking at streams on Facebook? That's ridiculous. And MonoGame is an open source project. We're always taking donations. We've had some big donations, but we're always trying to bring our numbers up in order for us to bring on some more people. In particular, trying to get some people working full time on MonoGame, because everybody works on it part time at the moment. So yeah, right. Thanks everybody. See you next time.